Hi everyone, Jason from Iron Fence Shop. In an ideal world, you'd have a nice level lot to install that fence on and not have anything to worry about. However, in the real world and with real project scenarios, you're probably going to have some hills, slopes, or grades throughout your layout. So today what I wanted to do is show you how to measure that slope and how our Stronghold Iron and Infinity aluminum fences handle them. What I want to do is show you an easy way to find the rise over run measurement for your fence. We'll utilize that rise over run measurement to figure out the best way to handle the yard, slope, or hill in your yard. You can find the rise over run measurement in your yard utilizing three simple items: a stiff board or piece of metal that's the exact width of your fence, a level, and a tape measure. If you're unsure of the size of board or piece of metal to use for your fence panel, it's going to be one of two sizes. If you're utilizing our Stronghold Iron fence in either grade, it's going to be an 8-foot or true 96-inch wide fence panel. If you're utilizing our Infinity aluminum, it'll be a 6-foot wide panel if you're using traditional grade, or an 8-foot wide panel if you're utilizing our signature grade. Now let's head outside and I'll show you how to use these three simple items to determine your rise over run measurement. Before we get started, one thing to keep in mind is that the goal is not to have your fence follow every dip and variation in the yard. This is for where there's a quick drop in the yard or a constant slope that would not allow for installing the fence straight across at the same height. Take your board, level, and tape measure out to the yard and go where it begins to drop or slope away in the fence line. Place your board on the ground where the drop or slope begins, facing the downhill direction where the fence will go. Place your level on top of the board facing in the downhill direction the fence will be installed. Next, take your tape measure and get down in the grass on the downhill end of the slope next to the board. Lift the downhill end of your board until the bubble on your level shows centered. Once you have that, you can hold the board in place or set something underneath. The key is that the bubble reads level. Lastly, take your tape measure and see what the distance from the bottom of the board to the ground is. This measurement is your rise over run for the fence panel. Our Infinity aluminum fence deals with grade by racking to follow the contour of the ground. The rise over run measurement we just took will help determine if our aluminum fence panel can rack enough to follow that grade or contour of your yard. If you're unfamiliar with the term racking, it's the ability of an aluminum fence panel to angle its railing as such. Its screwed together construction allows this so that the pickets remain upright, but the fence panel itself can be angled to follow the contour of the ground. Here are a few examples of our Infinity aluminum fence racked to follow grade. Our Infinity aluminum fence panels will rack 8 to 10 inches. So that means that our panels can follow an 8-inch to 10-inch rise over run change in elevation right out of the box. Our Stronghold Iron fence deals with grade a little bit differently due to its fully welded construction. Unlike the aluminum that can allow the railing to move along the picket, that welded construction means it's one solid piece that cannot budge. With our Stronghold Iron fence, you'll do what's called stair stepping and essentially walk the fence down the hill straight sections at a time. The rise over run measurement we did earlier will determine how much of a gap will be on the downhill end of that fence panel when you stair step it down the grade. Here are a few examples of projects that utilize stair stepping to install their Stronghold Iron fences. As you can see, the panels are installed between the posts and the next section of fence is installed lower on the post to give the top of the fence line that stair stepped look. If a full 8-foot iron panel will leave too much of a gap at the end of the piece going downhill, you can always cut a full panel into smaller sections and insert posts in between to lessen the gap. For instance, if you had an 8-inch rise over run and did not want an 8-inch gap on the downhill portion of the fence panel, you could cut the fence panel in two, drop in another post, and the rise over run would now be roughly 4 inches over the width of a 4-foot panel. This way you could get more of a drop because you're going to stair step the fence down the grade more times. I hope this video has helped show you how to determine your rise over run measurement when dealing with slopes, hills, and grades, as well as how our Stronghold Iron and Infinity aluminum fences handle them. If you have any other questions about installing our fence on a hill, slope, or grade, you can shoot us an email at sales@ironfenceshop.com or give us a call at 800-261-2729. We look forward to hearing from you.